Welcome to the In Our Humble Opinion podcast, the show where no topic is off limits. Sit back, relax, and enjoy a wide variety of interesting topics, sports, gaming, the paranormal, and everything in between. All opinions given are respectfully and humbly our own. Now here's your hosts, Jacob Cook and Brantley Weatherford.
Welcome back, everybody, to In Our Humble Opinion, episode 10 of season 2. My name is Brantley Weatherford, and of course, I'm joined as always by the great Jake the Snake. But in all seriousness, Jake is not a snake. It's just something one of our online buddies used to call Jake back in the day because he was very... It doesn't matter. Jake, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hold on. Finish what you were about to say. Very what? Very what? Go ahead.
Well, back in the day, Jake and I would play with this guy online. I won't say his name.
Oh, okay. If you're going to... Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
He would call Jake the Snake. Oh, look, it's Jake the Snake. And we think the reason for that is because... it seemed to be every time we played Destiny 2 or Destiny, Jacob would always get something he would want, and he would be upset. So he called him Jake the Snake. So anyway,
I was just
Jake the Snake. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering where you were going with that. Anyway, yes, thank you so much for that amazing introduction. I don't know if I'm deserving of such, but it's great to be back with everybody. If you haven't already noticed, I'm sure you have, our video on YouTube is just the backdrop. We don't have... For whatever reason, my camera isn't working this week. I think I need to update my drivers, so I just didn't realize I had to do that. So we're a little bit pressed for time. I apologize for that, but we'll get it back up and running next week, or if not, maybe the week after. But certainly within a reasonable time frame, we'll have the video back. So apologies for the inconvenience, but we're going back to our roots, I guess, Brant.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, you're living up to your name. Your stuff's not working, Jake the Snake. For people to know, my camera's working just fine. Hallelujah. I'm kidding. But yeah, it's going back to our roots where we all started, or you and I started, should I say.
Where it all began.
Our first episode, we'll get back to what we're going to talk about, but I want to go back to our first episode. It was on Bigfoot.
Yes.
And I told you the other day, on Friday, my class in the 5th grade, they were doing the state testing thing that we do to determine where they are academically. Yeah. And we're all supposed to be super silent. Well, speaking of Bigfoot, we're all super silent. And the class next door, you hear some kid go, and it sounded just like the thing in the video you sent me in that very first episode.
It sounds more like Chewbacca.
Well, I'm not doing it good because it wasn't Chewbacca sound. Like it was like that Bigfoot noise you hear in that recording you sent me. I can't replicate it, but I had to keep my composure to the best of my ability because it got me. It got me.
We have thought about posting some of our season 1 content on our YouTube channel, just giving you the it would be similar to this because we didn't do video back then. And that may be one that we do. We're trying to cherry pick the episodes. We don't want to upload all of them.
Cherry pick those corners.
Yeah, for sure. But that might be one, Brant. We might need to put a pin in that, get that one up so people can hear it. That seemed to be a more popular episode.
Did you know? Yeah, that's a good idea. You said put a pin in it. In World War II, that was a common phrase in the Pacific. I believe this is correct. I could be wrong. I'm not an expert. But they would say put a pin in them, Doc. Talking about the Japanese soldiers, because some of them would fake being dead and then blow up a grenade when people try to help them. So you should put a pin in them to finish them off.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've always really enjoyed finding out where a turn of phrase came from or where it originated from. I've always thought that was kind of a cool thing to track down.
Yeah, I heard it in the movie, the series, The Pacific, which is the same people who made Band of Brothers.
Yeah.
And it's based on books written by 2 two soldiers, one from Alabama actually, and another one from like New Jersey, and yeah, that's where I heard that from.
I've heard good things about it, really good things, and I loved Band of Brothers, so I'm
Excellent show.
sure it'll be worth my time. But
It
speaking
is.
of worth your time, I think this episode is worth your time. We're going to be talking about one of our favorite things on planet Earth, college football. It's coming back. It's already started, actually, but the SEC will get kicked off next weekend. And we honestly couldn't be more excited about it. I mean, we dedicated. So, Brantley, you alluded to the first episode we ever did, which was Bigfoot. The following 2 weeks were college football. So,
Indeed.
And then we did a third episode a few weeks later. So, we love the sport. It's just great. SEC football coming back. We're going to go through the schedule as quickly as we can, since it'll be kind of a lengthy discussion, I think, and give our thoughts on some of the more key matchups. But Rant, whenever you're ready, why don't you kick us off, and I'll just follow along with you, and we'll go from there.
All right. I'll also like to add, we're SEC fans here, Auburn, and we like Alabama too. At least I do. But there's also some other conferences I don't mind watching from time to time, like the ACC. They have some good matchups every now and then, and the Big 12 does. But I digress.
No, wait, hang on. Before we jump in, I just want to piggyback real quick. I totally agree with you. I love the sport in general. I love watching rivalry games that aren't pertaining to the SEC. Yeah. So I'm right there with you. More college football is more better. So
yes, more better it is. The first game I want to talk about is coming up on Thursday, 7 o'clock Central Time for you and me, and whatever it is for everybody else, 8 Eastern. Well, people can figure it out. Florida versus Utah. Now, last year it was in Gainesville, and Florida pulled off the big upset over, at the time, the number 7 team. This year it's in Salt Lake City, Utah, and Utah again is favored. Utah is actually ranked this year 14 starting off, and Florida it's not ranked because, let's be fair, other than that upset, they had a terrible season. Jacob, here I'm going to have to go with the Utes. I know they struggled in the bowl game, against Penn State.
Yeah,
very disappointing performance by them because I was pulling for them. But I think in Utah, home field advantage, unless Florida pulls something out of thin air, I don't see the upset this year. I'm going with the Utes.
Yeah, for sure. Give me the Utes all day, especially since I lost last year. They're definitely going to have revenge on the mind. So I think Utah is going to.
Aside from the bowl game, they finished pretty well. They beat USC in the Pac-12 title game, which was their second win over USC. So I think it could be a blowout.
And they lost their quarterback in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, he did get hurt, so that did play a factor because it was pretty close at first, and then that happened. And
you could argue that he wasn't doing much a few drives prior to him getting injured, which I saw the game, so I'd have to agree. But at the same time, it makes a big difference when your starting QB isn't out there. So
it does. But rolling from that game, here's a game that's interesting for one reason. Michigan, East Carolina. Now, last year, East Carolina, I think, finished 9-4. I mean, decent, but Michigan doesn't have their coach for a few games due to violations. Do you think there could be an upset there, Jacob? It's in Michigan.
No.
Okay. Well, we'll move on from that. I don't either then.
I mean, no, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. No.
Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, I want some parity there, but I don't see it. I
don't either. I mean, Michigan's favored by 36 points.
Yeah, I don't see it. I will say there is another game in week 1 in the SEC that I'm personally somewhat interested in. South Carolina versus North Carolina.
That is in.
And I think it's in Charlotte, right? Or is it?
I can't find it. Here it is. It is. It's at North Carolina.
So Drake May has made quite a stir in the college football community as a nationally ranked prospect in the NFL.
Yep.
And South Carolina has had a lot of good momentum. So
They
who
have.
knows what happens here? Honestly, I have no clue. I'm rooting for South Carolina just because of the conference, but
I agree.
I mean, honestly, I have no clue. I don't know what the line is.
I could tell you. 2.5 in favor of UNC.
Oh my God! So then, I mean, that's going to be a good game. I think. Hopefully,
Well, I'm just shocked that South Carolina's not ranked because they blew out Tennessee and beat Clemson at home last year. So I mean, they finished like 9-3 or 10-3, something like that, and they come in this year. No, excuse me, 9-4, I believe.
that's still a good season, though. That's a great season for them.
Yeah, so I'm surprised they're not ranked. I think I'm with you. I'm going for South Carolina, but I think it's going to be a close game. North Carolina put up a fight against Oregon last year. I think they lost by 1 point in their bowl game. And Drake May is the brother of Luke May, who got us a national championship in the basketball arena. I just like to point that out. And he has proved to be a high caliber quarterback. So I think it's going to be a close game. I'm going with the Gamecocks, but it could go either way.
Yeah, give me South Carolina. I don't know. I just think that they've got a lot of good things going for them. At least at the end of last year, it felt like they had a lot of momentum. So I think they will pull out the upset and beat the Tar Heels at home.
I agree. It's going to be a good one. Next game, and this one's going to be brief because it's an SEC team. Tennessee, Virginia, and Nashville. I don't think it's going to be close. Tennessee's favored by 28, but I mean, Virginia could do something. I don't know.
I think Tennessee will have their second string in by halftime.
That's something. All right. Well,
what about LSU, Florida State? What do you think?
I'm just not on the hype train for either of these teams.
Florida State has received more praise, I guess, in this preseason than I have seen in a long time. Did I miss something? What did I miss?
I don't know, Jacob. I really don't, because I agree with you. They finished last year. They didn't win, other than beating LSU, who I know they beat Bama, but Bama, to me, choked that away. They didn't really do anything. I don't know.
I don't. I mean, and LSU, to your point, has received. Colin has him in the national championship game.
Yeah, Cowherd. I mean, Florida State did finish 10-3, but they lost to Clemson, North Carolina State, and Wake Forest. They didn't beat anybody good other than LSU.
Yeah,
from a missed field goal, but someone say, "Oh, they beat Oklahoma in the bowl game." Oklahoma was not good last year at all. They were pretty bad. They barely made the bowl game. So I don't understand the hype for Florida State. I don't understand the hype for LSU. But with that being said, I'm sorry, my SEC fans. I have Florida State taking this one.
I will take the Tigers, but maybe they'll surprise me. I think LSU has the most potential to live up to the expectations.
They're ranked number 5.
Oh, well, I know. Are they overrated in your opinion or underrated?
Oh, both of them are overrated.
Okay,
LSU and FSU.
That's how I tend to feel. But maybe they. I don't know what their recruiting was like. I didn't really follow it that closely. Maybe they got some really good players, but
if they're basing it on recruiting, then Auburn should be top 10. I'm just saying.
Maybe so.
Well, how about this game right here? Where did it? Right here. Where did it go? I had it.
Are you in week 2 now?
Here we go. Colorado, TCU. TCU's favored by 21. I think it's going to be even worse.
Yeah, I think so too. I heard somebody on the radio the other day say as much praise as Deion Sanders has gotten in the offseason, it's just not going to go very well for them, and they'll probably go like 4-8.
I mean, they went 1-11 last year.
If you heard Colin Cowherd's take on this, it was hilarious.
Was it with Joel Klatt?
Yeah. Where he was basically like, they're getting all this hype over the offseason where they got one 5-star recruit. You know what Georgia calls that? Tuesday.
Yeah, I saw that one.
I was like, yeah.
It's true though. A lot of the recruits they got were not third, 3 stars. They got like over 40 something 3 stars, which 3 stars could be great. I mean, Javier Arenas from 2008, 2009 Alabama was a monster.
Yeah.
And he was 3 star, but I mean, they're not getting super highly rated players.
If they make a bowl game, right, you would think that that's a successful season.
Yeah, definitely a successful season.
So, yeah, I think TCU is going to wax them. But
yep, wax on, wax off, and prepare for the next game.
Yep. Because, I mean, TCU, their last national showing, they got absolutely boat raced by Georgia. So they're going to be looking to come back and make another statement, I think.
I don't disagree. I just wonder how much of a statement it's going to be, because one of their things was their quarterback. Oh, their quarterback's great. Their quarterback's gone now, I believe. So how well, and the running back, their little short running back.
Yeah, they had a few people drafted for sure.
So how are they going to come back from that?
I think they'll digress a bit. I think they'll come back to earth a little bit this year.
Yeah. I mean, they beat Texas, which was to me shocking.
Because we all know Texas is back, folks.
Texas not back.
Well, speaking of Texas, they take on our Crimson Tide on September 9th.
Well, that's week 2. Yes, they do. I'm not going to say anything here, Jacob. I'm just going to say I think Bama wins.
Why are you so trepidatious on this one?
In the past, when I have talked trash about a team that my team's going to play, my team always loses. So until the game is over, I'm just going to go with Bama winning. That's it.
Margin of victory?
Bama's winning. That's the margin of victory. There you go.
Will they cover the spread?
What is the spread?
I have no idea. I'm just in general.
Then Bama's winning. I mean, it's in Tuscaloosa. There's a lot of hype around Texas this year, too. A lot of people have Texas beating Bama this year. I don't know. I'm not going to talk anything. I want to say that Bama will crush them, but who knows?
All right. So, fair enough.
Bama's winning.
Before I give you my take on this game, were you finished with week 1? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump to week 2.
I'm trying to see if there's anybody left. There's really not that very many great games. The biggest one's LSU, Florida State. One more scan through just to make sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, week 1 kind of lame.
All right, well, I guess we'll move on then. I'll give you my take. I agree with you. I think Alabama wins. I think last year was kind of a fluke. I don't think it was supposed to be that close. And I think the off season this year, I've seen a few interviews with Coach Saban. They really put the emphasis on being less quarterback dependent because, in Coach Saban's own words, he said, oftentimes when we got into close games, we just sort of relied on Bryce to play Superman. I'm paraphrasing it a little bit, but that's basically what he was saying. So I think that they're going to have a lot more emphasis on offensive line play and running the football. I think that's when Alabama's at their best. So, I'm sorry, Brant, but yeah. So I'm going to pick the Crimson Tide. I think they'll cover the spread. I think they'll win by double digits. To be honest with you.
All right. I think they'll win. I'm not going to say about how much, but I agree. We did put the ball in Bryce's hands a lot. Say, hey, go. Well, that's the way it seemed. I don't know if that's how it was done, but just take over. And I mean, it won him a Heisman in 2021 when he won the Iron Bowl that I was at. The last minute or so. But
one of the best games in a long time.
Oh, it was something. I thought I was going to pass out. But, we're not dominant on the line anymore. We don't control the line of scrimmage like we used to.
Yep.
And
I would agree.
I would like to see that come back. So,
well, we do have the new offensive coordinator from Notre Dame.
We do.
So hopefully, I forget his name, but hopefully he makes a big impact. So I'm looking forward to the team this year. I think it's always exciting to see, who emerges as the next star on the Crimson Tide.
I don't disagree. Well, here's a game in week 2, depending on how week 1 goes. Ole Miss versus Tulane. Both are ranked in the top 20. 22 Ole Miss, 24 Tulane. Mississippi is favored by 7.5. It's in New Orleans, so it's in Tulane's backyard. Who you got?
I'm going to take Tulane in this one. Because I think both teams are like high octane in terms of offense. It's just going to be a matter of who holds them like just a couple times. I see this being a pretty high scoring affair. I'm going to take Tulane.
Great pick, kid. Great pick. Give me that hat. Go Green Wave. Yeah, I got Tulane too. I feel like this will be an SEC upset because people in the SEC are probably looking at this thinking this is going to be a blowout in favor of Ole Miss, but I think it's going to be a Tulane victory. And I don't see it as an upset per se. So,
yeah, I don't necessarily see it either. And for the audience listening, if you'll remember, Brantley and I picked Tulane in their bowl game, and they won. And it was almost exactly how we described it, if I'm not mistaken. So I feel like we got a pretty good idea of like what that team is capable of. So
we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, we've been watching the sport a while. Okay.
Yeah, that's why Pitt won their game.
Why? Why do you do this to me?
I've been watching the sport for a while now.
You just poured salt right in the wound. All right, I see how you're going to play it. Fine. I'll remember that.
aside from, where am I?
I've got one. If you don't mind me jumping in here.
Go ahead.
Auburn at Cal, week 2, big game.
Big
game.
Yeah.
I have not been very happy as an Auburn fan over the past couple of years.
No.
And I feel like for the first time in a long time, just being around the community here, we have a bit of a buzz about the team. There's a lot of positive energy about the team and a lot of healthy optimism. This is going to be the big test that, somebody called in one of our local radio shows and said that Auburn hasn't beaten an away out of conference opponent. There's only been like 2 in the last, I want to say like 10 plus years that they've won. And this is a big deal. If Auburn can start their season 2-0, UMass is kind of a given, but this game against Cal, I think could be a great boost of confidence for this team. Because, Cal isn't the best team in the world, but if you go in there and just disrespect them, because it's at Cal, like the team has to go basically across the country. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at this game. It's going to set the standard for the rest of the season, I think. If we can get off to this 2-0 start, I will be feeling so good about my Tigers going into week 3 and 4 and beyond. So I'm looking at this game. I've got it circled. I really, really hope. I don't care how big a victory it is. I don't care if we kick a field goal in the final second. I just want to win. That's how I feel about it. And that's, maybe some people want to blow them out, but I don't care. I just want the win.
I want the win too, but I want it disrespectfully. Because Auburn has had close wins in the past against team and have terrible seasons after that. Prime example, when they beat Oregon in 2018?
Was it the Bo Nix season?
Yeah, his first year.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Oregon. Like, oh, what a team. And they were not that great that year. I'm hoping for some disrespectful blowout here. And I am with you, Jacob. I have I'm excited about Auburn's football this year because I've been seeing constant updates on Facebook and sports sites. Auburn just landed another 5-star. Auburn just got this 4-star. Auburn got that. And that's something we haven't seen in a while, at least for 2 years. And I think that Auburn could do something this year. Some people have high hopes for Auburn. Like they say Auburn's going to do really well, maybe lose 1-2 games at most. I'm not that I'm optimistic, but I'm
I'm
not
not
that
that
optimistic.
optimistic. Yeah, I agree. I think
But
that's a bit much.
I want to see us blow out UMass. I don't say UMass is a given because I think it was last year or the year before we had a team that was given, and we won in like the last minute. so, so
Yeah, no, I mean you're right, but I really feel like we'll beat UMass pretty comfortably.
I hope so. I'm picking Auburn in both. Going to California and getting a win is critical for this team's success this year. It really reinforces whatever they're doing there because they'll get confidence if they don't already have it. And it's
Yeah,
critical
I
game.
just feel like it's a big deal for this team's confidence. I really do.
And I mean, after the seasons they've been having, they need to do something. After that, they got Sanford, and then they'll have A&M at A&M, Georgia at home, LSU at LSU. I mean, their next it's A&M, Georgia, LSU, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. Then Vanderbilt's kind of a UMass situation.
Yeah, yeah.
But they got a rough schedule ahead, so they need this win.
Yep. I totally agree with you. Is there anything else in week 2 that you wanted to touch on real quick?
Yes. Where was it? Here it is. Arizona and Mississippi State. I mean,
Oh yeah, that's
just an
going to be
interesting
good.
matchup. No, neither team was great last year, but it's just an interesting matchup. I'm going with the Bulldogs, but I think it could go either way.
Yeah, give me the Bulldogs as well. I don't see the Wildcats doing much of anything here.
It's in Starkville, so
Yep.
and they'll be playing for their coach.
Yes. Yes, for sure.
So yeah, any games outside of the SEC conference for week 2?
Yeah, I'm going to have to rely on you for that because all I have is SEC games on my schedule.
Let's see. Big Ten doesn't have anything really exciting right there. Let's go to ACC. Texas A&M versus Miami.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that. I don't think Miami's going to be very good at all, though. So
Fair enough. I tend to agree.
I think the Aggies will probably win by at least 10.
What's his name? A lot of heart, Jimbo. He is on the hot seat. I needed a lot of heart to get his name. A lot of heart, Jimbo. There's his name.
We're just going to play with a lot of veracity. We're going to play with our game, and our team's got a lot of heart.
Why don't you ask God how many strings he pulled to get things to go his way?
That aged well.
Nothing in the Big 12. What's another? Oh, Pac-12. The Auburn game. Wisconsin, Washington State could be something fun to watch.
Could be. Probably isn't, though.
Oklahoma State, Arizona State. Week 2.
Weren't the Sun Devils just awful, though?
You play to win the game.
Didn't they fire Herm Edwards, or didn't he leave?
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay.
Hello. How far in do we want to go? We want to go to week 3.
I was trying to get into the meat of this SEC schedule.
Okay, all right. Well, we're in week 3 now, and I mean we got LSU, Mississippi State.
I mean we're at half an hour. We can speed it up a little bit.
No, we can go wherever. I'm just saying. Did you want to do the whole year?
No, I wanted to get to maybe rivalry week. That's really what I was trying to.
Week 10? That's
Yeah,
the last week.
Well, there's 3 more games on the schedule.
For who?
Why is this? Oh, you know why? Because it included all the bye weeks. That's why.
Lord.
All right, never mind. Scratch that idea. We'll just go. I don't know. Let's start at week 3. We'll try to get to week 5.
All right. Well, we gotta remember, audience, that's by week 3, our predictions for 1 and 2 could be totally off base, which could definitely determine the route or the road for these seasons. So just keep that in mind. But the first game of week 3 I'm looking at is LSU Mississippi State in Starkville.
Give me the Tigers.
Go Tigers! I agree. I just don't see Mississippi State beating LSU, but I also still stand by LSU is overrated.
No, I think they're overrated. I just think they're better than Mississippi State.
Well, that remains to be seen. We have K-State at Missouri.
Give me K-State.
Yeah, Missouri's not Alabama.
Yeah. Missouri is butt cheeks.
Assuming South Carolina wins against North Carolina. You guys had to. I had to apologize for Jake the Snake over here. He's unfiltered.
I mean, am I wrong? Sorry about that.
No, you're not wrong.
We have honesty broker.
Assuming South Carolina beats North Carolina in week 1, I don't think they lose their second week, and that would mean they're undefeated going to Athens, Georgia.
Yep.
Could that be something?
No, but I do think it could be close, like for a quarter maybe. But I think Georgia's gonna do what they do.
Yeah, I see it like Alabama versus South Carolina, 2009, I believe, or 8. It was at first looking like something, and then Alabama just blew them away. I can see how that happens.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't think Georgia's going to have any problems getting through their schedule this year.
Well, are you saying they're going to beat Auburn?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's move to the next game. Alabama, South Florida.
I don't want them to, but I'm just saying.
I don't want to listen to logic, Jacob. I just want us to win.
I mean, I agree with you. I think, which game were you highlighting? I'm sorry, Brent.
Alabama versus South Florida in Tampa. It's just an interesting game.
Oh, I don't think so. I think that game will be over after the first quarter.
I do too. I'm just saying it's an interesting matchup.
Oh, yeah. I didn't
realize South Florida was on our schedule.
I don't even think week 4 against Ole Miss is a big deal for Alabama. I think they'll just boat race them.
What is it in Ole Miss?
No, it's in Tuscaloosa this year.
Grab your popcorn.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see that being a matchup to be concerned about at all.
Okay. Well, I'm not concerned about it. I just thought it was a
well,
game.
I mean, like they always try to hype it up, like, oh, this could be Lane Kiffin's year, but I really don't think so. Not against.
Well, the student beat the master, then he gets blown out.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I see, at least in this game.
Fair enough. What about Tennessee, Florida in week 3 in Gainesville?
Oh yeah, they do play. Give me the Volunteers. I'll take the Volunteers on that one.
I do, but let me say this about Tennessee. I don't think they're going to be as good as they were last year, and I don't even think they were that great last year.
Well, didn't they lose Hendon Hooker? Isn't he gone now?
Is he? I thought he was coming back.
Hey, he very well maybe. I thought for some reason he was either going pro or something. I don't know why I thought that though.
Right now. Where's their QBs? Oh yeah, you're right, Jacob. He's gone.
Yeah, I mean,
but they have Joe Milton.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I'm sure they have a very capable replacement, and I don't think Florida Gators are. I just don't think they're going to be that good, to be honest with you.
I don't think they're going to be that good either, and I also don't think Tennessee is going to have the success that they had last year. I think South Carolina was really an exposure of that, and people say, "Oh, their quarterback got hurt." They were getting blown out when their quarterback got hurt.
Yeah, I agree. I think Tennessee's going to be like TCU and kind of come back down to earth a little bit.
Yeah. We got nothing really left of the SEC. Let's head over to the Big Ten right there. I forgot looking at Big Ten schedules like looking at the FCS schedule. Hey.
Very nice.
Big 12. By the way, I'm done with the Big Ten schedule.
The Big Ten, meaning really like the big two games.
Yeah.
Big Ten, big game. It's like
Michigan, Ohio State, big game, horseshoe.
but normally
What
it's
a
like
game.
it's like Northwestern, Michigan State, and they're like Big Ten, big game.
Michigan State,
And
Northwestern.
Northwestern's like 1-7.
I have grown to love that commentator, Jacob.
I know, but it's just funny. It's just funny. You would think it's like for bowl eligibility, but it's like no. Northwestern's like 2-5, and Michigan State's like 3-3 or 3-6, whatever it is.
That was a team last year, Michigan State, that started off in the top 15. And by like week 3, they were out of the rankings.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm looking at the ACC. Nothing really tickling our fancy. I don't know the words I'm looking for here. Nothing interesting. And then for the Pac-12, again, nothing too interesting. That's a shame. Kind of a slow year in terms of big games starting off.
Yeah, it really doesn't like. There's a few that we've talked about, but like it doesn't really get interesting until like week 4 and 5. Where
What I said a week 4.
like for example, we could see a 1-loss Mississippi State take on a 1-loss South Carolina team, and this is a really big game for both teams, I think.
Yeah.
So I think I would take South Carolina in that game since they're at home, but
Yeah.
that's a big deal, I think. Or potentially could be.
We also have Auburn, Texas A&M,
Yes, we do.
College Station.
And if Auburn is 3-0 going into this game, Texas A&M could very well be 3-0.
Yeah.
That could be a monumental game for both teams, I think.
If they're both undefeated, I have confidence in Auburn going in and winning.
Oh, I do too. I would pick Auburn.
If Auburn has a loss and A&M doesn't, I wouldn't be as confident. I'd still be pulling for Auburn.
Yeah.
But I think Auburn needs to be going undefeated. And Texas A&M, they might not even be undefeated because last year they started at number 6 and they lost to Appalachian State. Excuse me. They dropped out. Oh my Lord, excuse me. They dropped out pretty quick.
The thing about this game for me is that it kind of goes back to that Cal game that Auburn has week 2. Yeah. I know it's Cal, and I keep talking about them like it's Ohio State. But if Auburn can beat them at home in a very hostile environment, that would be the most significant test that either team would have played up to that point, given their schedules. So Auburn would have already had somewhat of a test away from home. A&M wouldn't have really had that. I mean, yeah, they go to Miami, but come on, I don't think that's much of anything. Although you could argue that Miami and Cal are pretty similar.
I mean, Cal was awful last year. They were 4-8. But
I know, but I'm just saying, like, I just feel like this is an Auburn team that is devoid of confidence. They haven't played very well for like 2 years. They've had a whole bunch of off the field drama. I think this is a season that could really set the tone for not only this first year, but for Hugh Freeze going into year 2 and year 3. And I really feel like if they were to get a win at College Station in week 4 and be 4-0,
that's a huge deal.
I mean, this city, or rather this town, would just be going nuts.
I will say this. If Auburn's undefeated going against Georgia, I think there's potential for upset there.
And I was about to say, and then Georgia comes to town the following week. Like, this place would be absolutely rocking, and I'm all for it. So I'm hoping and praying. 3-1, 4-0 would be great, no matter how we get there. But beating an SEC opponent on the road would be just fantastic.
Yeah, I'll say if we lost to Cal and then beat A&M at home, I think that confidence, the confidence is there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, losing to Cal would suck, but at least you'd be, your conference opponents. I think that'd be great.
Both teams are coming off awful seasons, Cal and Auburn.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
There's that.
Yeah.
One was 4-8, one's 5-7.
Yeah. Nope. It hasn't been good. There just hasn't been consistency here for a long time, for several years. So.
Yeah. We got Ole Miss, Bama. I think we both have said Bama.
Yeah, and then Arkansas, LSU.
Depends on how Arkansas is this year. Arkansas,
give me the Razorbacks.
I mean, I'm not going to say you're wrong because Arkansas always plays LSU well.
I know. I think they're going to go into Baton Rouge and they're going to win.
I like that pick.
You heard it here, folks. Heard it here first.
I think LSU's overrated. I do, but
well, here's my reasoning. Here's my reasoning. Arkansas can run the ball, and they play solid defense. So if they can do that consistently, then LSU is not going to have the ball. They're going to get frustrated. And then if they can take the crowd out of it early, I don't know what time the game is. I would imagine it's probably like a 2:30 kickoff kind of thing. Then Arkansas may just get enough momentum to keep the game plan going and can get ahead, and then just kind of hold on at the end when LSU tries to come surging back into it. Don't know if that's going to happen. I just think for whatever reason, I've got a good instinctual feeling on the Razorbacks. Now, having said that, they might get blown out and I'll look like a complete idiot, but I'm willing to take the risk. I think it's going to be close, and I think Arkansas is going to edge them out.
Fair enough. I'll say this. If it's a night game, give me LSU. If it's at 2:30, I'll take the Razorbacks.
I don't necessarily disagree with that.
Because night games at LSU are all, unless you're Alabama. I mean, Alabama crushes them at night, except for last year, but we won't talk about that. Night games are always tough. But if it's a 2:30 kickoff, and I'm also going to say, I think it's dependent on how Arkansas starts the season. Because if they just start off terrible, well, scratch everything I just said.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that. Is that all in the SEC that we have? Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, that's all the notable ones in my opinion.
We have a big one in the ACC.
Let me guess. FSU, North Carolina?
Close. FSU, Clemson.
I was going to say Clemson, but haven't they just been kind of bad?
They only lost 3 games last year.
Yeah, but didn't they almost lose to Syracuse? And I think there was like maybe one more that they almost lost to.
Jacob, it don't matter if you win by a point or 1,000. A win's a win.
It does, actually. It matters a great deal. Alabama almost lost to Texas, and we haven't stopped hearing about that for a year.
Well, yeah, but they beat Florida State last year at Florida State. So, I mean, Clemson, I think Clemson's a better team than Florida State. I think there should be more hype for Clemson than Florida State.
I
don't
agree.
know why people
I agree.
are doubting Clemson so much. I mean,
I don't know. It just feels like
Dabo.
I know, but it just feels like they're kind of fading into obscurity now.
Okay, well, that being said, it's at Clemson. I'm taking Tigers again. I think at this point, Florida State's going to have 2 losses, and all that hype surrounding them, like them going to the football playoffs, is Garboggio. And I'm taking Clemson.
Yeah, I think Clemson's going to, BYOG.
Bring your own guts. I think they're going to have a rebound year. I really do. I think Clemson has been doubted too much as of late, and for good reason. But I think they're going to come out firing on all cylinders this year and be the team of the ACC. I mean, they were the team of the ACC last year.
Yeah, but the ACC was a down year for them.
Well, other than the SEC, who was a good conference? The Big 12?
Big 10.
Big 10. Who? Michigan and Ohio State?
Yes.
They both
Michigan should have been in
lost.
the national championship game.
So should Ohio State, but neither were.
Well, yeah, but we all know. And we picked TCU against Michigan, but we all
did.
know in a series of 5 games, Michigan wins 4-5.
Well, they didn't win the one that counted. They didn't win that 1 out of 5 that they needed.
No, they didn't, but they did beat Ohio State, which was a good team. They were a very consistent team throughout the season. They were a good conference.
Like, it's crap. It's like, well, we already said it, looking at an FCS schedule.
Well,
I don't see it. I don't buy the hype of Harbaugh. What was his name? Skip Bayless always said, "Oh, Harbaugh is the best college coach there ever was. He's better than Ain't Nick." No, he's not. He can't even win a bowl game. He's the most overrated coach. Overrated. I said it here. I think Michigan will be good in their bad conference. But
yeah.
other than that,
We'll see. Let's do a little bit of a curveball here. We got about 15 minutes or so.
okay.
Going through the schedule, we'll go through it in more detail. We'll do like a week 4, week 5, like reevaluation. What I'd like to jump into real quick is the game day panelists kind of gave their thoughts on what they think we'll see at the end of the year in the Final Four. And a lot of people were upset about it because we talk about parity all the time in the sport as being, for the most part, a healthy thing. Right?
Yeah.
Well, according to the panelists, and we're talking about Kirk Herbstreit, of course, Desmond Howard, Pat McAfee, these were the Final Four that we would see. Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, and Georgia.
Okay.
And a lot of people are very upset because it's 2 Big Ten, 2 SEC. And we've seen this before.
Yeah.
And actually, both, I think, let me pull back up here. Yes, Kirk, Desmond, and Pat had Alabama in the national championship game. And I think they had them beating Michigan. So, we'll see. I don't know where they think Georgia's going to lose, unless they think Alabama. Oh, that's right. They think Alabama and Georgia will play in the national championship game. And both the Big Ten teams will lose in the semifinals. I mean, that's
so like normal.
Well, I was about to say, like, I feel like we've seen this movie before. So I wanted to get your take on that first and foremost, and see if there's going to be any parity according to Mr. Weatherford.
No, there's not. Look, guys, I don't know. All this preseason hype about FSU and LSU and whoever else, throw it out the window. It's exactly USC is another one. USC is only winning 21-7 over San Jose State in the second quarter. That right there tells me they're not going to be some great team. I don't know where the hype comes from. I really don't. It's just hype. It's hype. It's all it is. I think Alabama will be back this year. All these doubters, Alabama's done and whatnot. They said that 10 years ago after they lost to Auburn in the kick six, and then they lost to Ohio State, and then they won the championship the next year. And they've won 3 championships since then. I think Alabama will be back on top of things. Georgia, I don't see them slowing down. I'm hoping for an upset by Auburn over them. But, I mean, it depends on how Auburn performs in the first few games. And then Michigan and Ohio State. Who's going to stop them in the Big Ten? Nobody. They face each other. They'll be the one loss, whoever wins. Nobody's stopping them because the Big Ten is weak. It just is. It is every year. And people wonder, if the SEC played up in the cold weather, okay, well, if you came down here and played in 100-degree weather, how would you fare? And that whole argument about playing in weather shouldn't matter when it comes to a neutral site game, because inside the dome you have the neutral weather, and if you can't win there, it doesn't matter. So I don't see any parity. I truly don't. Could there be a dark horse coming up? Let me look at the rankings real quick. Could there be a dark horse in this top 25? I think Auburn could be a dark horse. They're not ranked, but I think they could be a dark horse.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think Texas is going to be better than some people say. I do think Bama will beat them, but I think they'll be better. Other than that, I just don't.
I
what do
tend
you
to
want me
agree
to
with
say?
you, though. I think we'll see a very similar top four, or at least a very familiar top four. I don't think there's going to be too many surprises this year. I will say, I do think an interesting segment idea, real quick to close out the episode, is why don't I present you with a team? You tell me if they're going to be better or worse.
Okay,
Clemson.
better.
I agree. I think they're going to be better. I know I was giving them a bit of a hard time earlier. I don't think they're going to make like a national statement, but I think they will
I
be.
agree.
I think they will be better.
Yeah.
Texas.
Same.
What was their
Same.
win-loss last year? Do you have that information by
I can
chance?
get that real quick.
Because I think they will improve slightly. They had a good start to the year, I think, but then they kind of started to. I mean, I think they blew like a few leads that were pretty
They were
significant.
8-5.
Okay, so I think they'll be 9-4.
Okay, so better. Well, I could see that.
Oklahoma.
Slightly better.
I don't think they'll be. I don't think they'll be worse, but I don't think they'll be better.
So same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because don't they have Brett Venables now?
Yeah.
So
Well, they had them last year too.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, so I mean, I don't know how he did recruiting his first year, but I think they'll be about the same. Personally.
He and the coach for Florida, both their fan bases are like so excited for him. I'm thinking, why?
I mean,
they done.
well, Brent Venables did a lot for the Clemson defense, I think.
Okay, that's defense. What has he done?
But yeah, exactly. As a head coach, he doesn't have that. I think he
The
could pan out, though.
intangibles.
I think he could pan out. We'll see. And this is where my bias is going to come into Auburn.
Bias aside, I do think they will be better because of their off season. They have hit some big recruits and they have gotten a lot of hype around the program and hype for your team. When I say hype around their program, I think their players are believing and having confidence again. So I think they're going to be better. They can only go up. They were 5-8 or 5-7 last year. I think they're going to win some games that we saw Auburn of the past winning.
I completely agree. I'm very, very optimistic about this Auburn team. I think not only do I think we're going to go to a bowl game this year, I think we could win north of 8 games.
I don't disagree. I really don't. Because, Jacob, when you say you were very excited about this season, I, too, have been very excited over the offseason about this upcoming season because of all the stuff I've been seeing. And last year, I wasn't excited before the season. The year before, I kind of excited, but we had a new coach. But then the season started going, and I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, it just wasn't a good fit. Brian Harsin did a reasonable job, but it just wasn't a good fit.
Well, it's kind of hard to do your job with the universities against you. I digress.
I know. I mean, I know it's easy to. There was a lot of different things that went on with that, but we have a new athletic director, and we have a new head coach, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
And I really do feel strongly. I've been looking over the schedule for a few weeks now, and I see just a couple times where Auburn. Now the A&M game is going to be a big deal. Obviously, the Iron Bowl is a big deal in Georgia. Those are 3 games that I'm kind of nervous about. Well, okay, let me rephrase. I'm very nervous about the Iron Bowl. I think that's a loss. I think Georgia's probably a loss, but A&M could go either way, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So we need to have a very strong start.
Big time strong.
And then on the 14th, they go to LSU, and I don't remember what time that game's going to be either. So that's a big game too. So
they've only beaten LSU at LSU once since 2000, I believe, and that was 2 years ago.
They had them on the ropes the year they won the national championship game, or the year they won the national championship.
Yeah.
No, I think that was like one of LSU's most difficult games of the entire season.
Yeah.
And they choked it. So But yeah, really excited about that. What do you think about Georgia this year, Brant? Do you think they're just going to steamroll their schedule?
No, I think they're going to be slightly worse. That I think that they're vulnerable. I still think they're going to be playoff bound, but I think they're going to have some struggles.
I don't know. I mean, they still have Rock Bowers. They still have that a great defense.
Let me intervene real quick on these great defenses people are talking about everybody.
They do.
For everybody. Georgia's great defense last year was not that great. Okay, if you want to talk about great defenses, look at Nebraska, Miami, Alabama in the 2009 to 2012. Those are great defenses. There hasn't been a great defense since probably 2013.
By modern football standards, though, it was a really good defense. They held their opponents from, I think it was like just under 200 yards rushing per game, and in conference play, they only gave up one rushing touchdown.
Because nobody could run the ball.
Exactly.
Look what Ohio State did to them. I know they won, but still, they got demolished by that Ohio State offense.
I mean, but that was one of the better teams in the whole country, and they still won what I thought was fairly comfortably.
I don't think their defense is that great. I don't think any of the defenses are that great.
It's not. It's not like what you were alluding to. It's not to that standard, but
it needs to be. If you want to say you're great,
apparently it doesn't, because they've won back-to-back championships.
They won one championship because Alabama's two best receivers were injured. And they still barely won that one. When Alabama had their team healthy in the SEC championship, they got blown away. That great defense got destroyed.
I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with you. I'm just saying it's been very, very good compared to the average football team.
Well, when you're playing Banana Republic every weekend, of course it's going to be.
Well, Panera Bread University. They played some good teams. That Tennessee team had everything going for them when they went to Athens last year.
That Tennessee team got every penalty called for them against Alabama in Neyland Stadium.
I don't necessarily.
And that's the only reason they won.
I mean, I don't disagree with you on some of those calls.
18 penalties against Bama for some. There was a pick, Jacob, that would have ended the game. Interception. They called pass interference, and they reviewed it. There was no pass interference. They replayed it on TV. So I don't hear that Tennessee was some great team last year. They were garbage, and South Carolina proved they were garbage. And not only that, they were. Who else did they lose to? Georgia. Georgia proved they were garbage. I digress. Give me another team.
All right. Another team. Ole Miss.
Worse.
Any reason behind it, or just worse?
It's Ole Miss. They had a lot of hype last year until they started getting destroyed. I mean, worse.
Penn State.
I'm going to say the same. I think they're going to be good until they play Michigan and Ohio State.
Speaking of the Big Ten, there's another one. They won the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, they did.
I'm just saying, like, another feather in the cap of the Big Ten. Good team.
Against an injured Utah, Jacob.
I'm just saying.
Utah lost to Florida last year, who was awful.
That's a good one to pick, Florida.
Oh. I don't know, better. Slightly better.
What was their record last year?
Let's see. Florida 2020 football schedule. They were. Where is it? Where's the schedule? 6-7.
Worse.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I can see them being worse too.
I think they'll be like 5-8.
Oh Lord.
Miss a bowl game. All right, I've got two more for you real quick, okay? Okay. Thought of Robert Tilton Brand, but I'm not going to say it.
Say it.
And then the last biggie after that. Okay.
Right.
All right. Let's do Utah.
I think they're gonna be slightly better. I mean, they were pretty good. I know they lost that crappy Florida team I just mentioned, but they did do a run there at the end.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I agree with
I
that.
think they'll be slightly better. I don't think they're gonna be much better, but I think slightly better.
North Carolina.
Better.
They were in the bowl game with Oregon, and they lost.
By 1 point, I believe.
Yeah.
I will say better. I'll go with better on that. I think they could be a dark horse of the ACC.
I agree. I think they'll be better as well. I got two more. Let's do LSU.
Worse because they're going to lose to Bama this year.
I will say worse as well. And then the last biggie, Ball State.
Ball State. I mean, look up their schedule. I don't even know what they were last year.
I don't know. I just saw them against Kentucky. Sure.
Hold on.
Watch them be like the national champions.
Let me pull that one up real quick.
I have no clue what they're.
They were 5-7 last year.
Better. I'll say they're better. They'll make a bowl game 6-6.
Okay, I'll go with that too. Back in early 2000s, my high school, I wasn't going there. My brother was at the time, Northview. They were on a 40-game losing streak in football. It's like 4-something years of losing.
Oh, my God.
But their kicker got a scholarship to Ball State. And he was a kicker for Ball State. And I remember my dad saying, I wonder how he got a scholarship. Did he send video in? Because nobody's going to watch it.
I was going to say, no scouts are coming out to watch this team. That's funny.
It is. But yeah, he played for Ball State. I thought, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. I don't know where that college even is.
I look it up every freaking year.
I couldn't tell you. I always think they're Louisville, like for a moment whenever I see it.
Louisville, better or worse?
I don't know what they did last year. I'll say better. I don't think they were that great last year. I'll go
They
better.
weren't. I'll go better too. Ball State is in Indiana.
Okay. All right, cool. Learning stuff here on the In Our Humble Opinion podcast.
Hallelujah.
Well,
and that's reaching out there, opening our mouth wide.
That's all I think I have for right now. And like I said, we'll do a check-in, I think, Brian. What do you think? In a few weeks and just see how things are going?
Yeah, I'll say after week 3. After week 3 would be probably a good check-in.
Yeah, going into this A&M game, I think, would be a cool idea.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's all I got on that football schedule right there. Oh, Notre Dame won their game, opening game, 42-3 in Dublin. I don't know why people were excited about that game, but it's over. So.
Oh, Notre Dame is a good one. Are they going to be better or worse? I'll say they'll be better. I think they'll be better.
I'm gonna go worse.
Worse.
Then they have a down season.
Well, I guess that'll do it for us this week, everybody. Sorry again about the technical issues. We'll try to get them ironed out throughout the next week and be back up and running on YouTube. We'll still post it, obviously, but it won't be quite as engaging without the video. So we apologize for that. But
that's what you get with Jake the Snake, folks.
But speaking of YouTube, our YouTube channels will be in the description of each video we post and the show notes if you're into that kind of thing. Like we mentioned last week, Brantley has been doing card openings and reviews, and it's been really, really interesting. And I've been doing gaming. So if you want to check those out, they will be in the description. If you want to show some support there, we greatly do appreciate it. As always, we appreciate all the support we've gotten on our podcast. We really do thank every single person who listens to our show. We can't say thank you enough. It means a lot to us. And so just wanted to say a big thank you to that. And Brantley, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Go Tigers. Auburn Tigers. No, that's it, folks. Thanks for listening and watching. Check out our YouTubes. And Jacob, take it away.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you all for listening. God bless you, and we will see you next week.
Giggity giggity. Giggity goo. Stick around.
Thanks for listening to the In Our Humble Opinion podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. If you have any comments on today's episode, or if you'd like to suggest topics for future episodes, connect with your hosts at humilitypodcast@gmail.com. We'll see you next time.